G'day, mate.
Hey guys, so I get asked all the time about the teams that I'm using for different areas of PvE content in Summoner's War. What better place to start than GB12? So, got to give a quick shout out to Ababo. I saw this team that he was running on his stream one day and decided to copy it and see if I could replicate it. I don't think mine's quite as good as his. I don't quite have the damage out of my water twins that he does, but it still is pretty good and it ends up with about a mid 30-second average with a sub 30-second fastest time. I'll just go through the runes on it first here quickly before we get in and actually look at some of the runs. The Lucian is probably the hardest unit to rune up in this team. He does need to be the plus 120 speed, so he gets to have 2 turns before the wave 1 and wave 3 mobs go. Just so if he does derp, he gets the second opportunity to do amputation magic. This just makes it a lot more reliable and a lot more stable, but getting a plus 120 Lucian that is also capable of one-shotting the waves, that is probably the most difficult thing in this team. I'll just show you the runes on him quickly. We've got the attack, crit damage, and attack. And some more skill 3 crit damage here. And some damage dealt on water on this side here. Now the 90 crit rate, it is enough for him to guarantee the crits onto the golems, but the side crystals you'll see, sometimes he does miss those, and they just get cleaned up then by the next unit. It does slow the run down every now and then though when he does miss those crits. Next to move in the team is the Lauren. This is just kind of like a standard GB12 Lauren. Triple fight, make sure you've got enough accuracy, and that's kind of all she needs, and then just speed tuned as well. She doesn't really need much else, but any extra damage you can get out of her, I suppose, doesn't hurt. That's all the runes, and then I've just gone for some additional damage by speed here. Again, it's just whatever, just squeezing a little bit of extra damage out of Lauren doesn't hurt. Next to move in the team for me is the Sabrina. So I've currently got Sabrina on a triple fight set as well. I don't need her on this many fight runes. I can probably drop 2 fight runes and then still have my Lucian one-shot the waves. So I may try and experiment with a rage fight set or maybe even a fatal fight set and just see if I can get some more damage out of her, but I've just got to do a bit more of experimenting with it. She's on speed, crit damage and attack as well, and then these are just the other runes. With the twins, you want to go for the co-op attack damage, as well as you could go for some skill 1 crit damage and some skill 2 crit damage onto your Sabrina. Now Talia is the main sort of damage dealer in the team. My rage runes suck, so I've gone for a fatal blade set instead on attack, crit damage and attack. And then same thing with the artifacts for her. So you want to go for the co-op attack damage. Talia with the skill 3 crit damage is pretty good as well. And on the left side, I've gone for some damage dealt on water. So this is one here that I'll probably be looking to upgrade as well, with a higher damage dealt on water and probably with an attack main stat. That'll actually speed up my times by a reasonable amount. I'll show you when we get in there what can happen sometimes. I'm just not quite enough damage to one-shot the final boss with Talia if everything goes perfectly. And then Deborah I've just got here as well. Now the reason that this team is so fast and can work is basically because of Deborah. It's the passive that she increases the defense breaking effect by an extra 25% and just gives you a lot of extra damage as well. She's also an amazing unit in R5. I'll be making a video on that in the future. In GB12 here, you can just put triple fight on her. She doesn't need anything crazy. A bit of HP doesn't hurt, just in case something goes wrong and there's some derps, just so she can survive. But other than that, you can see these runes aren't maxed. They're not even leveled up. They're not anything. They're just there. It's just slapped on her. She doesn't really need anything at all. All right, let's get in. We'll watch some of the runs. We'll see here if we can get a clean run. It's not always the easiest because of the Lucian AI. Went pretty well there on first one. The only other thing that can kind of go wrong here is the Lauren missing defense breaks. As we all know, she's not the most reliable sometimes, but Okay, so if we had have done the attack buff and then into skill 3 then from the Talia, you'll see then I still don't have quite enough damage. That's probably the difference between mine and, say, I think Obabo's. He's able to actually just one-shot the final boss there. But even still, we still got a 27-second time. I'll see if we can find one that's got the actually puts the attack buff. You can see there what I'm talking about with the Lucian missing a crit onto the side crystals and not actually then being able to kill it. But it's not too bad. It never makes a fail or anything like that because the Lauren will clean it up. And if he misses the crits on both sides, Lauren and then Talia clean it up pretty easily. So again, kind of a Talia derp. We don't have the attack buff getting put on, but again, it doesn't actually make a difference for the finishing the run, but it will just make it, if I could get that able to happen, we'll be able to drop the overall record time for this team down a little bit. There we go, there's the attack break, and that's what I'm talking about right there. So you can see we're just leaving the boss with about 5% HP. If I can just get that little bit more damage out of either the Sabrina or the Talia, just to clean that up. So you can see that we've got a 25-second time. I think I could probably even drop that down to potentially even faster than my previous best of 23, which was with a different team, not with this team here. This team here, though, while the max fastest time I've got is a little slower than the previous team I was using, the average is faster. So this is why I'm using this one now. There's the attack buff again. So we derped then and didn't use skill 3. Okay, we're getting pretty good AI with Lucian in this 10 run here. We'll see if we can get any. I'll see if I can find any of the ones where he derps, just to show you guys what I'm talking about by having the plus 120 speed Lucian, and just so you can see that way he laps the waves. Oh, no derp again, of course. Of course, when we want him to derp, he never does derp. But you can see here what else we made. We missed both sides of the crystals then, but then they were just able to clean it up. Alright, so here's a little bit of a derp. No defense break out of Lauren. But we come through on the second wave. So both my Talia and my Sabrina, they are capable of surviving a hit from the giant as well. So it just gives you that little bit of extra protection. Perfect. There we go. There's the derp from Lucian that we're looking for. So hopefully he doesn't derp a second time. He does do that. There we go. Perfect. So that's what I was talking about. So by having the plus 120 Lucian, you actually get to have two cracks at the cherry of trying to get the amputation magic out. Perfect. And then the 1 HP Talia there as well. So I've never had her die. If she does die, though, I'll have to squeeze some extra HP on her, or maybe some damage reduction from water or something like that with artifacts. But so far, I've never actually had her die. That's probably the lowest that I've ever seen it with the 1 HP there. So this one's actually looking like we might even get a low 30-second average, or maybe even sub 30-second average, depending on how these last couple of runs go. But we've got like 28, 35. The longest time I've ever seen this team go is here's going to be one of the long ones because we've missed the defense break on the mid boss here. Okay, so a bit of a derp because the Lucian used his amputation magic in the mid boss. So things are going kind of wrong here, but it's still enough to get through. With the twins, because they bring their own defense breaks as well, they kind of just one-shot everything, regardless of if the Lauren lands it on there anyway. And there we go. So that time there, we were actually able to one-shot the boss. I'm not too sure why that one particularly was. A couple more to go here, and then we can see. So a couple of ways I can improve this team is getting a little more crit rate onto my Lucian. So we do guarantee the crits onto those crystals, just to speed up the time that little bit as well. As well as, like I said, just squeezing that little bit of extra damage out onto either the Sabrina or the Talia, just so we make sure that we do one-shot this boss here. Ideally, we'd be able to one-shot it without having the attack buff, but that's probably a little bit far out of reach for me just now. But definitely with the attack buff, just with a little bit of better artifacts, I will be able to one-shot that boss in the end there. Okay, last run, and then we can have a look at the 10 average. And there we go. Alrighty, so what are we looking at? We had the one really bad derp there from the Lauren in the mid-boss, so that will slow the average down a little bit, but we're still probably looking... Where are we at? Low 30s, 31 second average with a best of 25. So I think I could get that best time down to probably maybe 22, 23 seconds. And then lower that average down to sub 30 seconds if I just, like I said, upgrade the Lucian with a little more crit rate and add some extra damage onto the Talia. But yeah, that's my current GB12 team. I'll make an updated video if I do get those upgrades in the future. We'll just keep working through these PvE teams so you guys can see what I'm using and what I'm running. And hopefully you guys get some tips and tricks and maybe can upgrade your own teams as well.